Dear friends, today I want to share with you a story about how faith can bring life back to the heart, even when everything around seems to die. This is not taken from ancient books, but it carries the eternal truth. Faith is the well from which we can always draw living water. Listen closely. In a small village among dry hills, life always depended on the rains. The people were simple farmers and shepherds. When the rains came, the land bore plenty, children ran across the green fields, and laughter filled the village. But when drought came, everything seemed to wither, as if life itself abandoned the land. So it happened one year. At first, the people hoped, a week without rain is nothing unusual. But the week turned into a month, and the month into two. The trees lost their leaves, the grass disappeared, and the earth cracked wide open. Wells dried one after another. Quarrels arose between neighbors over a handful of grain, over a single jug of water. The village grew silent. Songs no longer rose at night. Even the children had stopped playing. Elias, a shepherd, felt the burden deeply. His goats grew thin, milk was scarce, and his own children often whispered, "Father, we are thirsty." These words pierced his heart like a blade. Yet along with the sorrow, something else began to grow inside him, a strange persistence. And one night, Elias saw a dream. In the middle of a scorched plain stood an old abandoned well, covered with stones. And a voice said, "Remove the stones and dig deeper. Beneath lies living water." When he awoke, Elias knew this was no ordinary dream. It was a sign. The next morning he went to the forgotten well at the edge of the village. When his neighbors saw him with a shovel and pickaxe, they laughed. Elias has lost his senses. He thinks he will find water where none has flowed for decades. But he only lowered his head and began his work. Day after day he returned. The sun scorched his back, his hands bled from blisters, but he pressed on. At times he collapsed from exhaustion, yet a quiet voice urged him, "Keep digging. Go deeper." By the third day, he had cleared the stones, but at the bottom lay nothing but dry clay. People gathered and mocked. "See? We told you. It is useless." But Elias took up his pickaxe and dug further. On the fourth day, he nearly fainted. On the fifth, his wife wept and pleaded, "Elias, stop this madness. You are destroying yourself. We need you alive, not broken and bleeding." He embraced her gently and whispered, "I must go on. I believe the water is there." On the seventh day, weak and trembling, he swung his pick one last time. Suddenly the ground shuddered. A low rumble echoed, and from the depths burst a stream of cool water. The well filled quickly, bubbling and spilling over its edges. Elias dropped to his knees, tears of joy streaming down his face. The villagers rushed over, stunned at the sight. They drank eagerly, washed their faces, filled their jars, and their cries of despair turned into shouts of relief. But soon an argument arose. "This well belongs to the whole village," shouted one. "No, Elias dug it, it is his alone," said another. "And yet, did we not all mock him? Can we now demand his gift?" argued a third. Elias rose, wiped the dust and sweat from his face, and spoke softly yet firmly. "This water is not mine. It is a gift from God. And just as he did not withhold it from me, I will not withhold it from you. Let all who thirst come and drink." The people fell silent. Some lowered their heads in shame, others wept. But from that day, songs once again rose in the village. Life returned, and every child knew, the water flowed not only because of Elias' strength, but because of his faith. And so the well became known as the Well of Faith. In the evenings, Elias would sit by its side and tell his children, "Remember, faith is like a well. If you keep digging, if you endure the ridicule, the pain, and the weariness, you will find the living water. And so, dear friends, this story reminds us, faith is not just a word, it is the very source of life. It is not always found on the surface. Sometimes we must dig deep, suffer mockery, endure pain. But the one who refuses to give up will always find the living water. May each of us carry within a well of faith, and may it never run dry. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share, so that words of faith and hope may reach many more souls.